PyeongChang, Korea, the 8th and final BMW IBSF four-man bobsleigh World Cup of the season. The pre-Olympic season ends on the Olympic track for 2018. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me, John Morgan, getting ready for the very last trip of the season. 20 sleds between us and the end of the year.
Wow, first heat highlights. Team Nico Valter, he's been struggling all year, coming off the World Championship bronze medal, and watch the problems here at the start. Somehow he overcomes that deficiency, flies down to the bottom part of the track with some of the best lines through the danger part of the track, 9 to 12, and he's in a bronze medal position. Now Team Oscar's keeper Manis, this young Latvian, only one podium all year, a gold medal in St. Moritz, but here he was the first man down the track, had some problems in curve 12, but he emerged through the challenges of the track and he's in second place. Team Alexander Kasanoff, he invited his team to come forward, and great start time for Kasanoff. He won the opening race of the year in Whistler. Since then, only one podium finish. He's the World Cup leader, and if he wins this race, he will walk away with the World Cup title and a very important gold medal.
Top 10 sleds covered by 24 hundredths of a second. 7 of those top 10 sleds are tied with at least one somebody else, and the top 3 covered by 11 hundredths. It is all up for grabs. Anything can and will happen. We saw a lead of 18 hundredths and more lost in yesterday's racing in the two-man and the women's bobsled, and so anybody could well take a medal out of that top 10. Of our 25 starters, Lamin Dean, 20th position, will be first off as we go 20 down to 1 for the final runs of the season. Alexander Kasyanov could well end up as the four-man World Cup champion, and Francesco Friedrich is likely to take the combined title for two and four-man. There's Nico Valter. That injured left thumb didn't seem to have much of an effect. They had a good start, and you can see polishing the runners on the Czech Republic sled of Jan Verber. One final time for the season. Well,
Andy Bauer.
Yeah, it's not really jacket weather outside. I've just been down to the timing shed at the finish in my t-shirt and didn't feel even remotely chilly. In the shade here, maybe you might want a second layer on.
This is just to warm it up, guys.
Yeah. This is the track at the top of the 3-story building where they're warming up and sprinting. All the sleds ready, runners raised to avoid them getting damaged on the floor surface. That's why bobsleds are always stacked upside down pre-race. Lamin Dean goes first in our field, and what's the time now? It is 5 after 5 local time. By the end of the race, 6. It'll be pretty much dark. It's slightly heading into dusk, but the air temperature isn't really dropping that much. By the time we get to Alexander Kasyanov, don't think he'll get much benefit from going off 20th and last. He will be the last sled of the World Cup season. And the next time the athletes race here, there'll be 5 rings on the trophy. Great Britain's Lamin Dean squeezed into the heat by 100th of a second ahead of Switzerland's Billy Meyerhans. He's the 20th sled after the first heat, first down in the second. Both runs count. Total time decides the winner. Mark Lewis Francis, 4x100 metre gold medalist in the Olympics. Ben Simons and Andy Matthews are the crew that provide only the horsepower that this sled will get for the first 50 meters.
And this is a different start track up here. I'm seeing now that people should take one step less, get in, get settled. We saw a lot of issues when the driver comes out of the start grooves. They posted a 4.97 in the first run. And these are 4 good athletes that just haven't melded yet together. Out of the start grooves, okay, 4.98. Start speed, you don't see. Curve 2, this is a pivotal part of the track. Oh, just misses the wall, but he did skid. You hit there, the party's over. We'll keep our eyes on that. And then 6, 7, 8, this is where the speeds are 65 plus miles an hour in the first 300 meters. This is the big, long, sweeping 8 curve, 9. Now watch this action. It's airborne into that curve 12. You're going to see pictures like that the next 20 sleds. Saw a crash here in the first run. Nick Polinato of Canada made it to the finish line. Ooh, look at the corkscrew into 15, 14 to 15 for Lamin Dean. And Let's see if he's got a faster time, Mark.
Cross the line in 50.42, yeah, quarter of a second better.
2500's better.
And
Well,
that's
it's colder, track's colder.
a little bit, but it's also partly that they've been really struggling for consistency all through 3 weeks of training as they try and learn this Olympic track, and there are a lot of driving challenges. Every corner is tricky.
Well, this is, ultimate for us TV guys to watch sleds come down. We used to see, we can't find replays in some tracks. Here, we can find them all over the place, including this airborne section. New sport we got here, bob jumping. They shaved that down overnight. This is 13-14. It's a pretty dangerous spot right there. That's where the Canadian sled of Nick Polinato and team crashed. They're fine, all 4 of them walked away from the accident. We won't see them in the second run.
Lamindine and team will go into the leader's box. There is the Grenadier Guardsman helping put the scabbards on the sled to protect those runners. Next up, Alexei Stulnev of Russia. 6100ths off the lead, 700ths ahead of Lamindine. Will he hold his spot?
They had a disaster up here at the start. They didn't get in the sled properly. The sled skidded. Then he crushed the wall on a curve 2. I expect him to move up 4 or 5 spots here. This is a very formidable driver who just had a disastrous first run. There he does it again, though. That's one of the worst lines in curve 2 we've seen of anybody other than the American Cody Basque, who comes up next.
4th place in the season-long point standings in 4-man, only 10 points out of 3rd place Stephen Holcomb, and he was 19th in the field in the first of our 2 runs.
It's the persona of this track. Listen to the banging. Smells like a NASCAR race down there, but you hit the wall there and you go down there and it smells carbon fiber burning up on you. 1600s. I'm surprised at this.
In the red numbers behind Lamindine.
Wow.
Well, he needs to improve by a quarter second to stay in front, and he hasn't. 50.62 is 200 slower. Lamindine went a quarter second faster.
Lamindine not very happy there on the right, though.
No.
He's had a rough season. Maybe he can move up a couple spots. I'm surprised Stulnev is in this position. Him finishing 20th. He's won a World Cup medal earlier in the year. His first ever victory. And wow.
We talked about this being a Finnish area of frustration.
Well, this is it. This is why he's done what he's done.
Yeah.
Watch these pictures.
Very low early
This is
on.
it, turn the lights out when you do that on this track. It doesn't matter what you're doing around here when you're going 70, 80 miles an hour. Up there in curve 2, you make a mistake, it's 30 hundredths difference. That's why he's not the leader.
USA's Cody Basque, 18th place after the first of 2 runs. The pre-Olympic race in PyeongChang, Korea. Round 8, the final slide of the BMW IBSF 4-man bobsleigh World Cup.
This guy's got a pretty good start, but Cody crushed the wall out of curve 2 in the first run.
Looking to get the night train motoring and tidy up corner 2, could pick up a couple of spots. It is so tight in this group of sleds.
Now let's see what kind of line does he take. High and bang, 2 for 2. Crushed the wall. He's gonna have all he can do to stay ahead of Lamindine at the bottom.
You sneak out of corner 2 and your run is still alive. You slam into the wall like that and you want to park it and walk.
And he's up on the wood there in 7. He's going to have to find some magical speed down here. Lamindine didn't touch the wall. And there's some jumping at 127.5. That's not going to be enough.
Well, that's faster than Lamindine, 79.2 miles an hour.
He's bringing it back. He's going to run out of track, though. Oh, look at that corkscrew. And
top speed, 133. That's 82.6, a mile an hour quicker than the British sled. But is it enough? Not quite.
50.72. He goes 1,300 slower. And remember, Lamindine went 2,500ths better. So Basque's going to slip 2 spots. He's going to finish at least, be lucky
20th place,
20th spot.
probably.
Yeah, so that, crush curve 2, 2 for 2.
Good day in Sebring in the 12 hours for Whelan Engineering, finishing on the podium.
But here, hits the lip, then crushes that curve 2. No chance.
Same as car
This
racing,
is up
stay
here
on
the
the
wood,
track.
curve 7. Cody's defense, this is the night train, is probably going to go back to Bob Cunio's shop. There's some little issues with the articulation on the sled.
Yeah, you need a lot of articulation on this track, that's for sure. A disappointing final run of the season for Cody Basque. 3 sleds down, 17 to go in the World Cup season for four-man bobsled. This is Jan Verber of the Czech Republic, the only Czech sled sliding today. Dominik Dvorak, his teammate, doesn't get a run. Dvorak had a good run in the two-man. Jan Verber didn't even make the cut.
5 flat, first run. 5 flat again. But he got out of curve 2. Let's see what he does here. Quiet, nice, easy steer through there. Of course, it's a lot more steering there than you think.
Held the nose up. You saw the tail slide towards the wall, but it avoided contact.
And notice this is the first of the last 3 sleds coming down that got through curve 2 and has got green numbers. And when you get through curve 2, your sled's got a chance, even when you do that. Oh, that's the biggest jump we've seen so far.
Yes, it might just be.
Let's see if he gets through 13, 14, yes,
He's
1800s.
had the fastest speed so far. 1:33.1 is the top, he equals that.
So this is a very good driver. Shades are up, down, all over the track, 50.42. He's 800s better, so the previous 2 sleds did not go faster like Lamendine. They lost their placings.
Yep.
Jan Verber from Czech Republic
He goes
holds
exactly
on to
the same time as Lamendine, so his 1700s advantage in the first heat is what keeps his nose in front.
Okay, now you want to watch how to drive a bobsled? Well, this is not the normal way you watch. The runners, tips. Now watch this picture from the back. Now watch him go airborne here. Watch the sled hit and go airborne right from that shot. Now watch the back end. Wow, and they shaved, look at all the shavings, see that? They shaved that off overnight to try and decrease the two-mans were launching into that curve 12.
Justin Olsen of the USA, 16th place after the first of 2 heats in the four-man race in PyeongChang, Korea with his crew. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching the action trackside in this pre-Olympic test, the four-man World Cup finale. Now, they had a long hold before their run because there was a crash. Nick Polonyato and his Canadian team crashed. They're all okay, but it was about a 10-minute wait.
15.
Didn't stop Justin Olsen and his crew going out and ripping out a brand new start time, though.
Yeah, they broke the track record of the two-man start yesterday. They got re-broke by the final sled down of the day. So let's watch what these 4 awesome athletes can produce. In, down, quickly. No variation here. Boy, they ran a long ways there. Evan Weinstock, good entry in the sled, 489 again.
Yep.
Now let's see if Justin can get through curve 2. This is a rookie driver, and he sneaks out of there with no deficiency. He loses time at the bottom. He's a rookie driver. He's driving the sled that he was a member of that won the Olympic gold medal in Vancouver in 2010. This is Night Train 1. And he's had some great seasons. 6 yesterday in the two-man competition. Uh-oh.
Still
Bang, bang.
2 tenths in front, though, of Jan Verber of the Czech Republic, who's got a decade more driving experience on him.
Down to 18. This should be enough, though. But you, ooh, the speed, decent, same
ties
speed.
the top speed.
So Justin Olsen, what a season this guy's had on the tour. Congratulations to Justin Olsen. Great hope and promise for the United States. There's his coach, Brian Scheimer, on the left. This is going to be great hope for the U.S. in the future with that type of athleticism in the front seat. Once he figures out how to drive, this could be a threat next year.
He's not doing too bad so far. This is a pretty decent run from 9 to 12.
And this is, you know, a lot of people are going to be doing that. So, but at 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour there, that's not as crucial as that mistake up in curve 2. Great season, Justin Olsen.
Justin Olsen leads the first 5 sleds down in the final race of the season. 15 to go to round out the BMW IBSF four-man World Cup season. Tied 14th place after the first of the 2 heats. Frenchman Loic Kosterg and Austria's Benny Meyer. Kosterg tied the time, so he goes first. Dorian Oteville, Yanis Pujar and Jeremy Bouterin, the crew. Sled built by their coach Bruno Mijon. He's the man in the blue body warmer at the back. 98 Olympic bronze medalist in four-man bobsled in Nagano, Japan. The last Asian Winter Games.
Well, these guys don't get the starts, but Loic Kosterg from La Plagne, France, he can drive. Driving a great piece of equipment, as you said, designed by Bruno Mijon. He should get out of here quiet. He does. That's why he's a good driver. Not everybody gets out of that curve too, including American Stephen Holken coming up. He's 0 for 3 in 2 days out of there.
Started 1400s deficit behind Justin Olsen, but with a much slower getaway, and that's gone out to a quarter of a second now.
Yeah, but he could catch him on the bottom, especially with these lines. 129.1, way better than Olsen.
Yep, 80.2 miles an hour compared to 79.8 of Olsen. 1200s, the gap is coming right down.
133 speed, he'll have a chance.
Wow,
134.8, huge speed, right to the 100th, he should catch him.
And at the line, it'll be France or the USA. It is France by 2. 100th quicker than Olsen on that trip.
There's
he was
Bruno
100th quicker than Olsen on the previous run as well. Holds on.
Good finish for them.
Now, very excited. I wonder whether a top
selection.
15... Yeah.
I wonder if that's Olympic selection.
I have a feeling there's something in that, more than just
they
delight at
getting down. They wouldn't be that excited over a normal 15th place finish.
Yeah.
They're still hooting and hollering down there. And they're hooting and hollering, the season's over unless they go back and train and they got through.
Hooting and hollering in the jumping cars. What is it, Bo and Luke Duke? Well, the French, I think, have definitely made a mark they needed to make. Tied 14th with our current leader, Loic Kosterg, was Benny Meyer. Didn't make the cut in yesterday's two-man race. Bounced back nicely in the four-man. Marcus Sammer on the crew was with him in the two-man race yesterday. Just too many errors creeping in.
It's been a long season for all these athletes, some of them with over 200 trips. 200 trips down a bobsled run, dealing with 4 and 5 G's of forces, coming out here having to warm up and work out every day. It's taking its toll. Some of these athletes are just mentally exhausted, and the challenges of this track hasn't helped.
Good exit speed, 59 kilometers an hour, the fastest of anybody so far.
Well, he just loses time on the bottom, period. He's got decent starts, 2,500s lead. You can't see him losing it on a normal track, but 2,500s here in this track, anything can happen. Oh, like that. Whoa.
Brutal. 128.3, 79.7. That's the second fastest.
He's really high there. 13,
hold it together,
14.
Benny. Well, they're past the danger point from 12 to 13.
Speed,
second best speed. 133.1, but is he going to have enough?
No, he doesn't.
Drops 3.
Whoa,
so
what happened there?
Olsen was only 200s behind Kosterg, and he moves up with him.
Wow. Where did that time go away? We saw him flip airborne sideways into curve 12.
It's out of 13.
But he still had 2,500s in the bank.
Yeah.
That's what there's nothing safe on this track. 2,500s is an eternity of time in this sport, but not on this track. Watch the change of direction here. Oh. Look at that. I mean, the back end of the sled was going right, the front end of the sled's going left.
And look at the ice, it digs out.
Look at his father, Manfred, look.
Listen, a bobsled's heavy enough to lift up when it's empty, but when it's got 400 kilos of man in it, think of the weight there.
There's the lane of frustration down there.
Chris Spring of Canada, 13th place after the first of our 2 heats. The Springer almost in the medals yesterday in the two-man in the first heat, 4th place, then drifted away down to the bottom of the top 10.
Decent start, 493. This team just got together at the World Championships.
Permanently positive, Spring. You see Aussie teammates at the side of the
brace.
track.
Look at the brace on his right knee.
Yeah, still got that on.
Yeah, he's not 100%. He's limped into the 492. Excellent start. There's so much athleticism in this sport. So many teams. The starts are all within 10 hundredths of each other. 8 years ago, it used to be 20 hundredths separation of the top 10 teams. Now, there's so many great athletes have come into bobsledding, and we have really seen it in the last 4 years.
Still in the lead of the race, 2,400s ahead of Frenchman Loic Kosterg. Oh, and that wasn't a bad looking jump either. 129.4, 80.4, top speed.
Oh, the back end of the sled, you saw that brakeman pop up there. That's because the back end of the sled was airborne.
134.5, that's good enough. He's got 1,600s in the bank. It might be into single digits, but he's got the lead at the line by 2.
200s. Boy, there's a lot of time to lose down there. He lost his time, I think, on 13-14 when he hit. That's where his teammate tipped over, Nick Paolinato.
Yep. He was 400s ahead of the Frenchman in the first heat, went 200 slower. He survives by 200ths of a second. And this is not even the insanely tight part
these
of the
guys
field.
are so happy about.
Yeah.
Neville right there. What's this? So this is into 12. This wasn't the issue. 13-14. If they should watch the brakeman pop up here. Look at the back end. They didn't see it there as much, but 13-14. Boy, they're yelling about something. I think they're yelling about the season being over.
Yeah, maybe so, maybe so. There's Chris Spring of Canada, moves into the leader's box with 12 to go. Maxim Anjanov of Russia lying in 12th position, 3,300 out of the lead after one of two heats. 500s in front of current leader, Canadian Chris Spring. We've seen much more than that go adrift with one error on this track. Can Anjanov hold his nerve?
Well, you know, he's had an up and down season and gets decent start times. 498. Now, question is, 2, quiet. 500's back. 100-kilometer speed on the left side of our screen. We're not going to see any speed. The telemetry on the sled's not on. Dead heat. That means he's coming back. A lot of shade still up on the track. Ooh!
Into the green numbers, 500s in front. Good-looking run from Anjanov. Best result of the season, 7th place in the World Cup.
800s, this is a good run. He's corkscrewed on the bottom into 15. Uphill section's clean.
He's going to take the lead from Spring by a big
50.20,
2/10.
1200's better. Alexander Zubkov, our double Olympic Games gold medalist from Sochi, now head of the federation for Russia. He likes his Russia number 3 sled. His Russia number 2 sled had a bunch of issues.
Well, Anjanov's worst finish in the World Cup was 6th in Lake Placid. He'll do better than that here, but it will be, if he doesn't move up a couple spots, his second worst result.
And this is 13-14. Movement of the sled and the high W. Watch this, we call corkscrew. The sled's all wound up. The back end goes into a skid. And this is the uphill section here, which you just have to steer that much into 15, you lose a lot of speed.
The Russians move into the lead. We have 11 sleds to go. Tied for 10th after the first of our two heats is our 2-man world champion, our 4-man world champion, Francesco Friedrich.
And he also won the World Cup 2-man title yesterday. And any kind of finish here, if he finishes down here, he's going to win the combined title. So he's going to win 4 titles in 1 year. I don't know if anybody else has ever done that in the modern era.
Now, I haven't worked out, yes I have, he needs 10th or better.
To win the title over it, okay.
If he's 11th, if Holcomb gets even 100th in front, then he needs something.
Well, Friedrich had some hellacious ride in the first heat. And this looks pretty good, but 1800s isn't safe down here. We've seen some real issues.
Yeah, gaps coming down from 2/10s to 1600s.
We saw Benny Merrill lose all sorts of time here.
Only 3rd fastest. He's got to be 10th or better.
So there's mission accomplished.
So he's beaten the 12th place sled. He is 1 spot away from sealing the combined title. Stephen Holcomb holds his future. Francesco does not. That's assuming that Kazanov wins. He still needs 10th or better by my maths.
Well, this is the double world champion and one of the best in the field. And, you know, he gets through there with some decent style points in the bob jumping contest. And here down 13-14, this is where the Canadians crash. Look at the error in the back. You know, I can see it. I hope you people can see it at home, but the back end of that sled is up in the air. Francisco Friedrich.
Here is our leaderboard halfway through the final run of the season. Francesco Friedrich leads, but there are still 10 sleds to go, and he needs to move up to take the combined World Cup title. Wow, lots of maths going on, and Alexander Kazyanov looks pretty much certain now to take the World Cup 4-man title ahead of Rico Peter. Essentially,
what about
Rico
Holcomb?
needs to
Holcomb
win.
was in third. Who was in fourth?
Alexei Stulnev.
So Holcomb's going to stay ahead of him then.
Yeah, Stulnev needs to win the race, which he won't. Holcomb needs to win the race, which he won't.
But just
Rico
get Holcomb,
Peter
get
needs to win
anybody
the race,
who's in fifth
which he
here.
won't.
Who's in fifth? So Lochner's in fifth. Can he catch Holcomb? He's certainly, he's 200 points behind Holcomb.
No. In the overall, who's 10 points? Stulnev is 10 points behind Holcomb.
How about the 4-man?
In the 4-man.
Yeah,
Well, Stulnev is not in the equation because he's already gone, so he can't catch Holcomb for third place. Holcomb is 57 behind Rico Peter, so...
No, but who can catch Holcomb in fifth? Who's in fifth?
In the 4-man competition
is Friedrich.
Francesco Friedrich.
He's not going to catch him.
No, not
Nico
if there's
Walter,
one or
84,
two places.
There's no way that Friedrich's going to get 200 points.
No, the battle between Friedrich and Walter is very tight for fourth and for fifth and sixth.
Holcomb's pretty well locked into
pretty much, unless
third in the World Cup points.
Unless the unthinkable happens.
And he's second right now in World Cup points, but Kazanov could pass him easily, and then I don't know about, Stulnev's not going to get him. So Holcomb's going to have a good weekend of hardware. World Cup hardware is going to walk out of here with 2 big globes.
Friedrich and Walter are 4 points apart in the battle to be the best German 4-man driver of the season. See some of our athletes down in the crowd with the fans. Catching by there from Austria, and Alicia Rissling with the pink top on. Racing in yesterday's women's race. 10 down, 10 to go. Final 10 sleds of the World Cup season. Everybody has checked in for their flights home, but they can't check out yet. Stephen Holcomb looking to try and consolidate third place in the 4-man rankings and second place in the overall title race. There's Francesco Friedrich in the blue beanie. Your race leader needs 10th or better to guarantee the overall World Cup combined title.
Well, the only combination he's worried about is getting through curve 2. Twice yesterday he crushed the wall in the 2-man, and here in the first heat in the 4-man did the same thing. So let's see if he can get through here.
Early height needs to carry it,
boy,
and
did he hang
does.
it. He didn't crush it, but
it was skiddy, but it was clean. 800s behind Francesco Friedrich. Friedrich needs 10th or better. This is for 10th.
Holcomb usually has the best speed on the bottom of most of the tracks. Here he had one of the worst speeds we've seen him have all season. I think it was relative to that curve 2 incident. This looks pretty good. 128.5.
Gaps
very
growing,
good.
Going behind, not as fast as Friedrich, who was 80.5 miles an hour there.
Gonna have to find a way to get fast here in the last 100 meters. I don't think he's gonna do
Gaps
it.
coming down, 1100ths of a second.
Oh,
by 100th! Oh my goodness, that might be really, really important in the overall title. If Kazyanov... No.
But still, Holcomb...
Friedrich needs 10th or better if Holcomb wins the race. Holcomb is not going to win the race.
Hey, good job by his team to get within 400 still. Carlos Valdez, Jimmy Reed, and Sam McGuffey. Good start times, and Holcomb 1 for 4. You don't lift very well in the sport of bobsledding 1 for 4 in a certain part of the track. And Steve Holcomb, he found some lines in the bottom part of the track to find 100th of a second to finish ahead of the double world champion Francisco Friedrich. So there's some smiles for the U.S. guys down here.
Holcomb unlikely to move up now into second place in the 4-man rankings because Rico Peter is his rival, 57 points ahead, who lies 4th after the first heat. But Brad Hall ahead of an Olympic champion and a 5-time world champion in Stephen Holcomb and Francesco Friedrich. The reigning 4-man world champion Friedrich lies in second with these 9 sleds remaining. Brad Hall had a really good run in the first heat.
We saw Justin Olsen. We talked about him in his rookie year. Great athlete, front seat. This is another one. The British have brought him from the back seat to the front, and watch the start time and watch the drive. This is the British hope right here. This kid is impressed. The crash at the World Championships. very devastating to the British program and Brad himself, but he's recovered here. Really good first run, being the last sled down the track.
Ties the start record, 4:89 getaway as well.
1700s, an eternity of time on most tracks. Not here. 100.3, excellent speed.
But even if he's in the green down to turn 12, the British sleds have been losing speed from 13 on down to the line.
Shades are up all over the track, not because of the sun, but because of the wind. The wind is as much damage up here with a lot of moisture in the air, and they've had a little issues with the track.
79.7 miles an hour, not fast enough. Needs 133 and change. Oh, only fifth fastest. The gap will come down, but it will be enough.
Should be enough, easy.
He'll take the lead from Stephen Holcomb.
By 800ths.
Wow, only 800ths, but he was 100th in front of Holcomb after the first heat.
Well, he beat Holcomb and Friedrich. That's an unbelievable accomplishment. Yeah. His best finish ever in four-man. Watch this celebration. What a way to go to the Olympics.
Don't forget, ripped the back of his right hand open in training in a crash, gashed all 4 tendons. They had to be reattached. He had a tennis ball sized lump on the back of his right hand that's now only golf ball sized.
Okay, and he has his last trip through the graveyard of time, I call it. The bob jumping, not too bad. Big change of direction left. And then down here 13-14, which is dicey. You know, a lot of speed can be lost down there.
Only his 3rd World Cup four-man race, and he leads. Germany's Johannes Lochner tied the four-man gold medal with teammate Francesco Friedrich. Friedrich lying in 3rd place, Lochner in a two-way tie for 7th.
Well, this young German phenom, who won 5 of 7 races over a 3-week period in the middle of the season, we're all shaking our heads, and he just made a huge mistake at a curve 2. That's why he's dead heat now with Brad Hall.
Well, all his victories have come on German tracks. Won in Altenburg, Winterberg and Koenigsegg in the World Cup. Also won the World Championship in Koenigsegg.
Tied for the four-man World Championships with his teammate Francisco Friedrich. It was the first tie ever in the 80-year history plus of the sport.
Going behind, needs speed at the bottom. 128.7 is a little quicker than Brad Hall.
Whoa, big
Gaps
air
coming
there.
down, 400s, 133.1, 134 and change. Just a little quicker than Brad Hall.
Right to the 100th.
Could they tie again? No, by 700s he takes the lead away from the Great Britain sled, so he will guarantee himself at least an 8th place finish.
Sometimes the roughest rides are the fastest. That was a rough ride, especially on 13. They're just happy to make it to the bottom, these guys. The track, these are the Germans that just 1, 2, 3 in the World Championships. They are going 1, 2, 3 here today.
Bronze medalist yesterday. He's loving this race weekend.
They're just happy to get out of here. This is curve 2. Boom. Boom, the back end, touches. Okay, now let's evaluate his bob jumping style here. Not too bad.
Well, he made sure there was no wall left untouched, didn't he?
But down, he got some air down in 13-14. Out of
Start sight, 490. Disappointment in the two-man yesterday when Yoon Jung-won of Korea slipped out of the lead into the silver medal position. But after the first of our 2 heats here, he was only tied for 7th with Johannes Lochner of Germany.
I think there's just so much pressure on this guy yesterday. Have 2nd place, had a medal in his hands, but we've seen him falter before. And this is the guy that was the World Cup champion in two-man bob in the 2015-16 season, winning in Koenigsegg in the final race of the year. Everybody said, wow, he's launched. Since then, the Koreans have been in a free fall.
Yep.
They just have not had any of the results they had the previous year.
Four-man program has come unstitched. One is the only qualified four-man sled. Kim doesn't make it into the four-man race.
And they're not going to get 2 sleds at the Olympics next year. 400s down, 128.8. You know, they've been down the track more than anybody, by a lot.
Tied with Lochner after the first heat. He's got the best speed, 134.9.
Should get him here at the bottom with that great speed.
Or will he tie again? No, doesn't even tie Johannes Lochner. Okay, yesterday Lochner went from 8th to where? 3rd. Today he started tied for 7th. Let's make that 8th. Who knows? I'm not counting him out. They were only 1800s off gold. They were only 700s out of the medals, these two.
There's a lot of frustration here for the Koreans. They expected, before this season started, they expected to medal here in both disciplines.
This year doesn't matter.
Boy, there's a lot of movement back there. You see a lot of helmets bouncing around on that number 3 guy.
I'm not surprised with the G-forces. He hauled it off 9. Offers his congratulations to the Germans, who have the lead with 6 to go, of whom 3 are now tied for 4th place. 1600s out of the lead, i.e. 3 sleds were 200s in front of Lochner, our current leader. First of whom is Justin Cripps of Canada.
Good team here. They added Alec Kopax to the left, the big tall guy. They added him at the World Championships, and Cripps already had a good start team. And now with Kopak there, this is a very powerful team. These guys meld together between now and next year. This could be one of the better starting teams in the field. There's the leaders.
Look at Lochner on the left. The party started in his head, hasn't it?
Jesse Lumsden, Calgary Stampede sled.
Second week of July, it's all happening to Stampede. 490, good start.
Just off the start record. Oh, but Cripps just puts himself in a terrible position, crushing the wall, erases the great start. Now, who knows what the track's going to allow him to do. But after that curve 2 debacle,
he was only 500s out of the medals. Took a silver in the World Championships in the 2-man competition.
Great line there.
300s.
Speed's excellent.
Still
Maybe.
close.
Ooh.
In the lead now.
Wow.
Needs 134.9.
Wow.
Oh, slams into the wall.
Unbelievable that he did that at 15.
Equals the top
Loses
speed.
at 7th best time. Drops 3 spots. He was in the lead with 150 meters to go. What's this track? This track is unbelievable. He banged out of curve 2. He banged out of curve 15. In between was good lines.
Yep.
Most tracks in the world, you don't have any challenges like this. Here, there's 5 different places on the track. There's a boogeyman hanging out, waiting for you to do this. High at 15, bang! We haven't seen anybody do that in both days.
And look at the ice. Slams the wall.
And this is uphill. You're going uphill. Wow.
The back runners were foot in the air. Oh man.
Justin.
Well, listen, Johannes Lochner can't believe this is happening again. Johannes Lochner leads. 5 sleds remain in the World Cup. Rico Peter of Switzerland tied for 4th place in a 3-way tie. 500ths of a second out of the medals. He lies 2nd in the World Cup rankings. If he could somehow win this race, he would win the 4-man World Cup Crystal Globe.
Pretty good run, 492 start. They should bust a 490. They should be all pumped up here. Give Rico a chance.
Look at the way they get
again,
it,
that's good.
But nice and
start
smooth.
speed in the left, best start speed. And now can he get through? Ooh, he sneaks through there. Inches from the wall. 200s down. Remember, Lochner wasn't clean up top, so Rico Peter got to put some afterburners on.
Rico has a 200ths of a second advantage over Johannes Lochner. Basically, 7 sleds here in a dead heat.
Nice. Oh, as soon as I said nice, the track got him. Now
130.4, top speed at that point. No one quicker.
700s, he's flying on the bottom. 135, best speed, 136, and he's got a big skid going uphill though.
Going to take the lead away from Lochner.
Yes,
Lightning does not strike twice. Lightning does not strike twice for Johannes Lochner. Rico Peter leads. Johannes Lochner 2nd. Yoon Jong-won 3rd.
But the track still got him on the bottom. Skidding going on the uphill section. TV doesn't do it justice. You are going steeply uphill there. And when you hit like that, going uphill, it's a gravity sport.
7 of our top 10 sleds were tied after the first heat. We do not have a tie out after 16 of our 20 sleds.
Watch out what you wish for. here is, look at these pictures into 15 or 12. Okay, that's not bad. But here, 13, 14, he gets a little away from him there, and he's airborne going into 14. Now watch, he gets like a little bit of a skid in the back end here. Now watch him climb the wall, and he gets into a big skid. It's going uphill. That's the worst scenario you can have. He's lucky he got away with it.
4 sleds to go to decide the World Cup crown, the overall title, and the final race win of the season. Can Oskars Melbardis post a second win? He won in the last World Cup race in Innsbruck in Austria. He's only 1600ths off the gold, 500 out of the medals, a new start record to take it away from everybody else.
Watch out at curve 2, he's had issues here in both the 2 and the 4. He sneaks out that time. They put a special seat in this sled for him just because of the pressure down on the curve 12. He's coming off back surgery in the summer. He's not 100%. Didn't do well in the 2-man. He could turn it all around here though.
Still in the lead by a 10th of a second.
That's good. Oh.
Seen worse, 700s. Flew all the way into turn 12 though. Does that take speed out of the sled?
Oh,
yes.
It's down to 300s.
79.9. He's a mile an hour too slow.
Best speed.
Rico Peter's going to hold the lead.
Going too. I don't think he's going to do it.
Rico Peter leads with 3 to go.
Wow.
It was that jump into 12.
This is the world champion from last year.
Yep.
Back surgery. He's still 80%, and they still had the start record. This is the only team that's been intact in the last 3 years. Completed the season. Look at him get out of the sled.
Yep.
This guy is pretty wounded, like everybody in the field. Okay, this is pretty good. And then it gets away from him. He had 20 hundredths lead at that point.
Yep.
20 hundredths is
Look how far he jumps.
Jumps.
Lands in 12 and straight up to the woodwork.
And then this is down the bottom where you're going uphill. Look at the skid he's in here. Uphill section of the track.
Skiers go sideways to slow down, does the same to bobsleds. Into the medals. Final World Cup of the BMW IBSF 4-man season. Nico Walter of Germany needs a medal here like he has probably never needed a medal. Walter, bronze in the World Championships, 2 silvers in Winterberg and Koenigsee, but not a 4-man win this year.
He's had a very down season, especially the 2-man. Start. They had some issues at the start in the first heat, not there, 494. He had a big variance coming out of those start grooves. Here he skids through 2, but boy, he flew in the bottom part of the track with those problems at the start in the first heat. Let's see if he can have the same lines and capture a medal. 500s.
Creeping away. Don't forget he was only 500s ahead of Rico Peter after the first of the 2 heats.
This is pretty good. Still got to jump 129.8, good speed.
Second fastest.
Ooh, tap there though. Down always behind.
136.6 was Rico Peter's
Doesn't have the speed. Peter's going to get a medal.
2 kilometers now too far. He's going to drop 3 or 4 spots. Rico Peter's in the medals. Come on, okay, now the maths gets interesting.
Listen,
Rico Peter's in the medals.
The next 2 sleds got leads, but nobody's safe here.
Rico Peter challenging Alexander Kazyanov for the World Cup title in 4-man, leads the race. Kazyanov will go last.
No Germans on the podium. But of course, there's a story about the jinx here too, Martin. Since they've done the pre-Olympic test, there's been 9 pre-Olympic tests, 2 and 4, 18 competitions. Only 1 man has gone on to win the pre-Olympic test, to win the Olympic gold medal. It was Harold Shodai in 1994 in Lillehammer. So it's not really advantageous to win the pre-Olympic test if you believe in superstitions.
Oh, if you believe in facts and statistics. Nico Walter in 3rd place with 2 to go. Rico Peter leads. He's got to overhaul Oskars Kibermanis, and he's got to beat Alexander Kazyanov to take the World Cup crown.
It's so close, and 0.2 of a second means nothing. We saw it yesterday in the 2-man. Most tracks, 0.2 of a second's a lot of time to work with.
Kibermanis 800s off the lead, only 800s ahead of current leader Rico Peter from the first heat.
Could be 47, 48. Good start team here. 47
new
track
start
record.
record. Do they know they need every ounce of power?
First albatross, 2, perfect. This young pilot won a gold medal in St. Moritz, his only podium of the year.
First ever World Cup win in 4-man as well.
Yes, 22-year-old decathlete that they plugged off the streets of Riga 4 years ago, and he has been pressing Melbardas to become Latvia 1. And if he comes down here clean, he could be the #1 sled here today.
Speed 130.4 from Rico Peter. He was 128.4. He's a mile an hour too slow.
Coming right to the 100. 10th
No,
best
he's
speed.
gone. Rico Peter is going to take at least silver medal. There's not enough left.
There it is.
The speed told us everything we needed to know. He was a mile an hour too slow up the hill.
It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. Rico Peter could end up with a win and the 4-man Crystal Globe.
Kibermanis still gets a medal, but you know, we call this alleyway up here where they finish Frustration Lane. Well, it's unbelievable how many athletes have come to the finish and just shook their heads about what this track presents to them. 13, 14, no speed in the bottom. This could have been it, high, low, and then he comes out of this 14 like a corkscrew. Yeah, a little bit of a skid there. Lines didn't look that bad as some of the other sleds, but
hit the wall. That's all it took. Rico Peter leads, second in the World Cup standings for 4-man. Alexander Kazyanov now the first round leader, must win to take the Crystal Globe. Whichever of the two wins it, there's 14 points between them. The gap first to second is 15 points. If Peter wins, he takes the Crystal Globe by 1 point.
I think we got a little intrigue here.
Sled and track in the bobsled start. This is the final
start. 492 in the first run. Very efficient. 492 again. He get out of the second curve perfect. Let's see what he does here.
Same start as Rico Peter. He's only got his first heat advantage on board, up to 0.2 of a second.
Wow, that's great velocity he had compared to Peter. 100.101 is the best speed we've seen in the second run at that point. Kazyanov won the opening race of the year. Looked like he was positioned to do it all, but as very slumping in the 2-man.
Oh, good run.
Oh, nobody's had 130.
130.4 Rico Peter, but it's close enough for Alexander Kazyanov.
Plenty of time here. Kazyanov's going to do it. He's going to win the bookends of the World Cup season. The first event and the last.
And he claims victory. The first ever World Cup race in Korea.
What a way to finish.
In fine form. He takes the World Cup race. He takes the Crystal Globe and sets a track record.
He also inherits the jinx. Only one person of 18 in the last 9 Olympic Games pre-Olympic tests have gone on to win the Olympic gold medal the following season.
He'll say, if Chudai can do it, I can do it. Rico Peter, the silver medalist. Oskars Kibermanis takes bronze. But victory goes to Alexander Kazyanov. Won in Whistler in November, wins in Korea in March, and in between, one solitary visit to the podium.
Look at the camaraderie in the sport.
Well, in this race, nobody can affect your own race apart from you. It's you versus the track.
Look at that.
Yes.
A lot of relief for him. His 2-man results in the last month of the season looks like he's a rookie driver, and he in the 9th in the World Championships. Obviously, this track favors his style. Great starts, 492, both runs. His drive down the track, well, he set the track record in the final sled down of the competition. The question is, what can he overcome the jinx 12 months from now?
Kazyanov takes the 4-man Crystal Globe, and Francesco Frigic holds on for the combined Crystal Globe by around 20 points from a total of over 2,500 earned during the season.
Wow, can't believe the season's over. Can't believe we've got a track that's going to be the Olympic track. This place is, how to describe it? It's
electrifying.
It's frustrating for the athletes. It's got a nightmarish couple curves. It's thrilling, daring, terrifying, mentally challenging. What else?
Yeah. Anything with ing at the end, that's it.
It
definitely is not
spectacular place.
an easy gliders track. Well, there you go. What a race to round everything off with. And the man who won the season opener looked like he was going to have such a great year. Alexander Kazyanov finishes it on a high note. Rico Peter in second, and Oskars Kibermanis on the podium again in the four-man. It's his second podium of the season after winning in St. Moritz. And that then is going to be it. The World Cup standings. Kazyanov victorious ahead of Rico Peter, who had to win. And if he did, he would have beaten Kazyanov by a single point. Holcomb third. Behind him, Alexei Stulnev, Nico Walter. The top Germaners have thought he got in front of Johannes Walter, Johannes Lochner and Francesco Friedrich. So that is some recompense for struggling to win races. He's been more consistent than his teammates in the four-man competition. And that also means that the combined title has been decided. It's for every two-man and four-man race of the season. All the points are added up. And with just under 3,000 points, I reckon it'll be around 24 that decides the overall title. Haven't done the arithmetic on that. We may get to see that. Well, there's Alexander Kazyanov on the right and his crew, and they are delighted with victory now. The Jinx, they'll worry about that in February next year. And that's it for the season. Thanks to all the athletes and coaches for their time and for taking us into their confidence. To Martin Verstraete, our director, and the whole IBSF TV crew in North America, in Europe and here in Korea. Thanks for being with us. To everybody at home who's watched. On behalf of John Morgan and all of us here in PyeongChang, I'm Martin Haven saying thank you and goodbye from the 2016-17 BMW IBSF World Cup season. We are done. Next time we race here, it will be the 2018 Winter Olympic Games. From all of us to all of you, it's been a long, fantastically exciting season, and we cannot wait for the next to begin. It'll be early November 2017, and it'll finish off here at the Alpensia Sliding Centre with the Winter Olympic Games. From all of us in Korea, goodbye for now. Enjoy your summer.